How do you practice speaking English for IELTS? Do you have a method? Do you have a good method? Let me share with you my method in detail, the Speaking Success System, in this second video about succeeding in IELTS speaking. Hello, it's Keith from the Keith Speaking Academy and of course this YouTube channel, English Speaking Success. So welcome to this second video. Oh, if you haven't seen the first video yet, this one, make sure you go and watch it as I explain the system that I've used to help thousands of students across the world succeed in their IELTS speaking test. I also show you the most common mistakes IELTS students make with their speaking and what to do instead to make sure that you don't do that and you succeed with your IELTS speaking test. It's the same system we're doing it together. We're going to put into practice today in today's video. And it's a system that I am sure will help you succeed in IELTS speaking. We'll do some examples. You can go through the exercises with me. You can pause the video or you can just sit back and enjoy whichever you like. But we'll go through the entire system. It's the big reveal. You can also download the PDF of this later. Just click on the link down below and that's it. Let's do a very quick recap of the 4 steps of this system, right? Number 1, try, where you try and answer a question from IELTS speaking to see what you know and don't know. Number 2, discover, where you watch or listen to a proficient or native speaker give an answer and you learn some of the language and how they use that language. Number 3, practice, where you practice repeating the chunks you have picked up from the discover stage. And then 4, build, where you give different answers to the same question to build flexibility. Right, let's jump straight in. Okay, let's begin. Let's take a topic, a typical IELTS topic and everyday life topic. Let's talk about... What? Thank you for shopping at Carrefour. No. At the bottom. Money. Let's talk about money. Okay. A question you might be asked is, do you prefer to spend or save money? Now, what I want you to do is pause the video and just give an answer, an improvised answer. Don't think, don't prepare, don't write down, just give your answer. This is a part 1 question, so probably around 15 seconds, 2 to 3 sentences. Ready? Pause. Great, welcome back. Now, when you gave your answer, you may have given a very confident answer that you really like. Great. But you may be not too sure and not too confident. Maybe you said something like, I prefer to spend money, I can't save, which is a bit short. And maybe your answer was short because you don't have the ideas or you don't have the vocabulary. But there's a gap, right? And that is the key thing. If there's a gap, we need to build up your knowledge and your skill. And that's going to be the next step. If there is no gap and you're very happy and confident, go. Stop watching the video. Go and do your IELTS test now. For the rest of you, let's move to step number 2, discover. Okay, in step number 2, discover, we're going to discover the language used by a proficient speaker or a native speaker. In this case, it's going to be me. I'll give you my answer. Listen carefully and try and notice some interesting vocabulary or grammar or language. Okay, here we go. So, do you prefer to save or spend money? I definitely prefer spending money. I mean, I love splashing out on things that I can't really afford. I know I should manage my finances better, but I'm just not very good at putting money aside like that. Now, did you hear the chunks that I used? If you can use just one of those chunks, already your answer will be better. Now, what do I mean by chunks? Okay, a chunk is a piece of something. We say, for example, focaccia. That is a chunk of bread. Oh, smells delicious. A chunk, right? It's a piece of bread. A chunk of language is a piece. A piece of language. For example, we can have chunks can be a common phrase like, it's time to go. It's time to go. It can be a grammatical chunk like, I'm interested in something. I'm interested in sport. I'm interested in doing sport. It could be a collocation like red wine, white wine, black tea, have a shower, all kind of collocations. It could be an idiom. It's a piece of cake. No, Keith, it's a piece of bread. No, a piece of cake meaning it's easy. Exactly. So when you're listening not only to this answer, but listening to English in general, you want to be noticing. That's the skill to develop, is to notice the chunks, right? So look out for the grammatical chunks, the lexical chunks, the collocations, the idioms, things like that. It's a skill you can develop. Now, the goal is with the IELTS speaking question and the answer is not to memorize the answer. The goal is to learn the chunks and memorize the chunks and then use those flexibly in your own answer, right? That's a key thing. Now, so how do you notice chunks? It's a skill you can develop. We'll do it with this answer and I'll point out the way to do it. In English, there are different kinds of words. And the main thing to look at is take the key words, so nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, and look at the words next to them, the word before and or the word after, and notice that. Okay. Let's have a look. I mean, for example, I said, I'm interested in sport, right? I'm interested in sport. There we've got interested is an adjective, and we say, I'm interested in. Not on or at, in, plus a noun. Or I'm interested in doing sport, in plus a verb in the gerund. That's what you notice, that's what you note. And then you can use it flexibly. I'm interested in English. I'm interested in learning English. I'm interested in learning French. It's true, right? Let's come back to my IELTS answer about spending or saving money, and let's just analyze it a little bit. So I said, I definitely prefer spending money. Definitely is an adverb, right? It means without a doubt, for sure. And I'm using that before prefer. So I can see that it's a great chunk. I definitely prefer something when you're really sure. I definitely prefer tea. I definitely prefer spending money. Next one. I love splashing out on things I can't really afford. So to splash out on something is to spend a lot of money on something. Okay. So here we've got the verb splash, and we can notice it's used here. The word after is out on. Splash out on something because we spend money on something. So notice that chunk, right? Splash out on. Many chunks in English, it helps to listen to one sound. Don't listen for splash out on. Listen for splash out on, splash out on. That's the sound you want to listen for and try and produce, right? Splash out on. Next, I know I should manage my finances better. So I can see my finances is a noun, and the verb here is manage, meaning to organize. So manage your finances means organize your money. Well, your finances is interesting. My finances includes money assets, maybe stocks and shares, all the things that have value for me. My finances. Notice it's plural. Finances. Finance is the field of money, but my finances, right, is my money. So manage my finances. Again, that's the chunk you want to learn. But I'm not good at putting money aside like that. To put money aside, literally, is to put money on one side, meaning to save money. Put money aside. Another chunk that you should notice and then move on to practice. How do we practice? Well, that is step 3. Right, let's move to stage 3. Step 3, practice. You're going to love this. This is my favorite part. Here with the practice, I'm going to show you some of the different practice activities I do. I do a lot more in the gold course, but this will give you a flavor of what we do. Now, some people think you need a teacher live to correct you. Actually, with a lot of your practice, you don't. Just follow the instructions. Imagine I'm in the room with you and I'm just telling you what to do. Okay. I'm going to tell you different things. I'm going to ask you to repeat, change a word, say the opposite, and give a phrase true for you. These are some examples. There are more. We'll do these today. Once you master this, you're going to see your pronunciation rocket, your vocabulary rocket, and your fluency rocket. 3 rockets, fireworks, right? Now, let's have a look. Let's take an example. First of all, here. So remember, we're focusing on sounds. So I'm not going to write everything for you. First of all, listen to the sounds. Repeat. Splash. Splash out. Splash out on a holiday. Good. I'm going to splash out on a holiday. Listen to the stress. D, 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 D. I'm going to splash out on a holiday. Great. Now then, let's change a word. Let's change a holiday for a new phone. I'm going to splash out on a new phone. Change for a new car. I'm going to splash out on a new car. Nice, good. Now then, let's go back to the original phrase. I'm going to splash out on a holiday. Say the opposite. You should say, I'm not going to splash out on a holiday, right? New phrase, I often splash out on holidays. Repeat. Great. I often splash out on holidays. Now, say the opposite. Good. I don't often splash out on holidays. Or I never splash out on holidays. Or even I rarely splash out on holidays, right? All of those are good. Next, come back to my phrase. I often splash out on holidays. Put it in the past. I often splashed out on holidays. Splashed out on holidays. Great. Finally, say a phrase that is true for you. I might say, I splashed out on a holiday last year with my family and we went to Italy. Also, I splashed out on a new MacBook 2 years ago. Right? That's it. So these are all different ways of practicing. I'm here with you. And can you see how you're not just repeating, but you're starting to think. You're connecting a deeper level of learning because it's not just automatic pilot. You're really engaged with the language, and that's building up your ability. It's a bit difficult at the start, but it gets easier and easier. And as you do this with different chunks, wow, the world will change for you. Right. Now, the next bit of the practice is to go back to our IELTS question and give your answer again. This time, I just want you to try and use that one chunk, splash out on, in your answer. Okay? Develop the answer as you can. Okay? Again, I'll say the question, pause, give me a short answer, 2 to 3 sentences. Are you ready? So, do you prefer to save or spend money? Pause. Great. Well, I hope you may be able to use splash out, that new chunk. Don't worry if you can't. It's not easy to start using something new you've just learned. Okay? It does take a bit of practice, but that's fine. This is the idea of how the system works. Just for your reference, here is something I might say. Do you prefer to spend money or save money? Well, I prefer to spend money, actually. I often splash out on holidays and clothes, maybe new clothes, probably more than I should, actually. I guess I'm just not very good at saving. That's it, right? Different from my first answer, but I'm starting to use these new chunks. Okay, let's move on to step number 4, build. Okay, step 4, build, is about building flexibility and building your answers. So instead of memorizing one answer and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, you give different answers to that same question. And here it's very free practice. You can use the chunks or not use the chunks. Doesn't matter too much. The important thing is you're building your flexibility. And why are we doing this? Because if we look at the IELTS band descriptors for speaking, you'll see at a band 7 and above, uses vocabulary resources flexibly, uses a range of complex structure with some flexibility. Flexibility is the key word that the examiner is looking for. And so you need to be able to react and change your answer, okay? So simple, step 4 is you go back to the question, do you prefer to spend or save money? And give 2 or 3 different answers. Forget about trying to give a perfect answer, just speak and improvise. Okay, let me try. Okay, do you prefer to spend or save money? I prefer to spend money. I do love going around the shopping mall. At the end of the month, when I get paid, I tend to blow all my money on clothes. Yeah, I'm not very good at saving. Or, yeah, I prefer to spend money. I have this habit of spending most of my salary, so there's nothing left at the end of the month. I know I should save. I mean, my father tried to hammer it into me that I should save money, but yeah, I never get round to it. Okay, now those are higher level answers, but you can just say whatever you can say at your level. You have a go. Do you prefer, and you can pause and give your answer. Do you prefer to spend or save money? Okay, I'm assuming you've paused, have a go. You've seen the system, right? Great. Okay, you've seen the system. The key here is to study, to practice, to study, to practice. On a long-term basis, you're building your vocabulary, your pronunciation, and your fluency and flexibility to answer your IELTS questions, right? I hope you can see that this is quite a systematic way and an easy way to practice for your IELTS speaking questions and topics and for the IELTS speaking test. It's also quite fun and engaging. And this, the Speaking Success System, it's a method that I've used with thousands of students to help them go on to improve their level from a 5 to a 6 or a 6 to a 7 and get the score they need in IELTS speaking. And the great thing about this is that you're not only helping you with your IELTS speaking, but you're improving your overall ability and confidence in English speaking, which you have for the rest of your life. When you go and live in another country or work in an international company or study in the university of your dreams, whatever it may be, you're building up that confidence, well, to be a confident speaker of English. So, would you like to prepare for your IELTS speaking test with, this method? Now, there may be 1 or 2 things that are stopping you. And when I show this method to students, they usually ask some common questions. 2 common questions. The first question is, well, where can I find exercises and materials like this suitable for me to do IELTS speaking? Good question. And the other common question is, should I also practice with real people? So the first question, where can you find materials? You can look across the internet and probably find materials that are useful for you, preferably video and audio. Try not just to read from written answers. Or in my gold course, I have it already made. The whole course is based on the Speaking Success system. Different topics and questions, practicing using this system. It's all there, ready-made to go. The second question, should you practice with other people? You don't have to, but it's a good idea if you can. Mainly because as you build up your skill and confidence, it's about communicating with people. That's what language is, right? And so if you can chat to other people that you don't know, you're going to learn that communication skill and become more confident as you push out of your comfort zone. At the end of the day, when you face the IELTS examiner, you have to speak to a stranger and you have to be comfortable to do that. So it's probably a good idea. The good news is also in my gold course, we have online breakout rooms where you can speak to 2 or 3 other students around the world on the course and practice your speaking. We have sessions every day. There's guided questions you can follow. There's no teacher. It's just you, the students, practicing in very small groups. So there you have it. There you've got the Speaking Success system. You can go and practice on your own, or you could come and join us in the gold course, the ready-made system, and the breakout rooms, plus strategies and tips on how to address the exam. Live lessons like the ones I do on YouTube. We have 2 of those every month, all on the latest topics and things that you should be looking out for. And we even have Zoom meetings with me. All the students come in, we practice, we ask, there's question and answer. So if you want that community of support and contact, connecting with other people and myself, it's all there in the gold course. So if this 4-step system makes sense to you, if you feel, yes, that can help me, then you're ready to take the next step. And the next step can be to sign up for the gold course, the IELTS Speaking gold course. You can check out, there's a link below here. And when you're ready, then you can take the next step to transform your English speaking, to become, well, to go from being a struggling English student to being a confident English speaker. So you can face the examiner with confidence and ace your IELTS speaking test. And I can't wait to see you in the course. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can download the PDF of this, review it, get a feel for it. And do remember, please, to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. Like the video if you did. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about this system. And I will see you in the course and or in the next video. Take care, my friend. All the best. Bye-bye.